so I'm going to get started. So I'm Leslie Riley, and I imagine a lot of you know that. You're on my page right now. But Leslie from leslieriley.com, and just welcome to you all today. I know we've got a busy holiday weekend coming up for a lot of people, so I appreciate you taking the time to listen. And if you're listening later on from the recording, then thank you for showing up too. Today I'm here to share with you 3 things that can get in the way of your art making. They're hidden. They're things that you might not realize can be stopping you. And I've been spending, decades trying to figure out what stops people from their art making. First it was personal, what's keeping me from it. But it's broadened because I work with so many people now, and there's so many things that get in the way. And these 3 hidden things I have discovered, and I'm pretty sure you haven't even thought about them. So what I'm going to do is share them with you today, and I'm going to answer any questions you might have about them. So if you have a question, you can post that in the chat box. And if I don't catch it, first of all, I will, maybe Marianne can point it out to me also, and I can definitely answer you later on in the chat. I can add, we can keep adding messages and responses to that. So I'll get around to it eventually. So ask away. All right, so let's see. Now I get back to my notes. I'm a little off kilter here from that bad start. All right, so first of all, I have a question for you. What gets in the way of your art making? What would you say is the major thing that keeps you from starting or keeps you from going once you've started? Hey, Denise, hello. Okay, anybody want to type something into the box? What keeps you from your art? What keeps you from continuing once you get started? Why do you bail from it, in other words? All right, I'm not seeing much right now, so I will just keep on going. A lot of the things that stop you from your art making are pretty common, pretty well known. You don't have the time. I think time is number 1 for everybody. Space, definitely, or if you have space, Kathy just said she has a messy art room. All too familiar with that. Not enough time, Lois and Kit. Yeah, those are the really big ones, and they're very common. Confidence is a big one for a lot of people. Over the years, I've recognized probably what I would consider to be 21 major obstacles. So I call those gaps, creativity gaps, the things that like a gap you fall into, you stumble, you get caught in if it's deep enough, and that's pretty much the things that keep us from our art making. We can blame it on fear, we can blame it on time, we can blame it on a lot of different things. But once you discover all the different things, then it's so much easier to take care of them, things you hadn't thought about, like the 3 hidden things I'm going to share with you today. So I'll tell you what they are, then I'll explain them to you, and I'll also give you solutions on how to close those hidden creativity gaps. So let's see. Okay, I've got 3 today. First one is fixed ideas. The second one is self-competition. And the third one is hurrying. Now, I know we worry that we never get to make art, but have you ever thought about hurrying through your art? Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but we'll cover that today. So first of all, fixed ideas. That means that you want, you think you need, you expect things to be just a certain way before you can sit down to create. Now, I experienced that firsthand with a house full of kids and no space to call my own. And I always thought, well, as soon as I have the space, then I will create. Or as soon as I don't have the kids around, then I will create. All these reasons that I just said, well, it has to be a certain way. I can't do that now because of this. That was a fixed idea I had until I really discovered what was keeping me from it and took measures to get rid of it. So fixed ideas are the big and little blocks that keep you from your art making. Now, some of them, they actually, they give you like a closed mind to the situation. You can't find the solution because your mind is closed to the possibilities. So I know we like to think we're open-minded people, especially when it comes to relating to other people. But as far as ourselves, are we open-minded with ourselves? So I thought I needed the space. I thought I needed the time. And I actually thought I needed to know how to do everything before I even started. That sounds pretty crazy right now. Looking back, but it's true. I really thought that I shouldn't start until I knew everything about the method. I still have a tinge of that though, but it doesn't really keep me from trying anymore. So, fixed ideas are when you're thinking that you can't do something because of external forces. Okay? It's an outside situation and you think you have no control over it. And if you can't control it, then, well, it's not my fault. It's not, nothing I can do about that. My schedule's so full, I have no time. It's not my fault. And you relinquish all responsibility for correcting the situation. Another fixed idea that many people have, and it might have come from someone else, or maybe you're that someone else, is I have no talent. I'm no good. I'll never be any good. Now, a lot of people I've heard, there was an art teacher at school that just said something to the equivalent to don't quit your day job. My sister this is off, a little bit off, but she took an acting class as an adult ed acting class. And the instructor there actually told her, don't quit your day job. So many people think that you have to be innately talented to start something when that's not the way it is at all. Of course, there are these people that can draw realistically right off the bat or have a natural talent for singing, but those are few and far between. Most people have to learn how to do the things that they're really interested in doing. Have you ever seen a naturally born surgeon? Or even an athlete? How many kids, they're all gifted athletes, but did they all just start out immediately on the professional team? No. They would work their way up. And what I've noticed too is that there's so many, say, musicians and athletes that never make it to the top ranks, but that doesn't stop them. They do it for their own pleasure. They do it for themselves. They do it in small groups and communities. So thinking you have no talent or believing that because long ago somebody said that, or because like me in grade school when my 4th grade friend, Patty Donahue, poor Patty, I wonder if I could ever get in touch with her, tell her how she changed my life. But she could draw realistically. She did a portrait of me in 4th grade. And, immediately I just thought, well, I'll never be an artist because I can't do that. But I guess by now, if you're with me here, I am an artist. And you are too. Okay? So let's see. Does this sound familiar? What's everybody talking about? Oh, Paula, you got too many ideas, not sure what to do first. Hey, Deborah, how are you? Denise, that rings a bell for you. Yeah, okay. So, let's see. Next one, self-competition, competing with yourself. That's when you're focusing on what you're doing at the moment rather than letting the art happen. You're so concerned with, oh, that mark's not good. That's not the perfect word. That my stitch is a little off there. It's a little crooked. What am I going to do? You're so much in your head thinking about these little items one by one that make up the big picture that you can't get into that place that makes art happen, into flow. You're competing with your own performance. I could do that better. That's not good enough. You don't even, how can you measure your own performance? Athletes can. I guess, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing that they can, but, they've got times, distances, weights, goals, baskets, all those things. They can keep stats on their performance. But how would an artist keep stats on their performance during the process? Why would you want to? It's okay to evaluate it once you've stopped or once you think you've finished a piece. That kind of evaluation is good and necessary. But to be evaluating the whole time you're creating, it's just, it's I would say it's an art killer. It's definitely an art stopper, because how many of you have been making something and you have so many points along the way where you say, this is no good, that's not good, that's not good. And what do? You bail, right? Okay, so if you're competing with yourself while you're making art, you're setting yourself up for failure right then and there. So just make the art, get to a stopping point for the day, or, get to a point where you think you're finished, then evaluate. And what I usually tell people in my class, this isn't the only piece of art you get to make, okay? You can do it again. Artists work in a series to explore a topic or to explore a material or a method. So don't think about this one piece you're working on. Don't compete with yourself, okay? Art's not a sport. The true value in creating is the process itself. And the more you do it, the more you experience the process, the better you'll get with the materials and the method, the better you'll feel about yourself. Just being in that state that makes art possible is one of the healthiest things you can do for yourself. All right, so let's see. Hurrying. When I had all the kids at home, and I finally came to the conclusion that I needed to make use of every 5, 10, or 15 minutes of my time that I had available. That was like a big wake-up call. 5 minutes here, there, and whenever add up. And you can finish something in 5 or 10 minute segments over time. But I also hurried through those 5 or 10. I hurried when I had open hours, like 4 hours on a Saturday. I would get all excited, and then I'd hurry to see how much I could get done before my husband brought the kids back home. About a half hour before they were due to come back home, I'd rush to the window. Anybody, are they here yet? Are they here yet? Like a crazy person. I was hurrying to get some product, something done that I could show to myself, some validation. I was hurrying because if I didn't have something to show for it, I was wasting my time. I felt guilty, So, can you see how hurrying right off the bat is stifling your creativity? It takes all the fun away, you get tense, then you start self-evaluating. All those fixed ideas start popping into your head. I don't know, it's a sorry situation, don't you think? So I'm going to give you 3 things you can do starting today to begin closing those 3 little creativity gaps. Let's call them cracks, creativity cracks, because they're not these 3 aren't 1 or 3 of the major 21 gaps. So then they're cracks in the gaps. Make sense? Well, the first thing you can do is that now that they are no longer hidden, you can take measures to fix them or close these gaps. I suggest you get a pen, piece of paper, and you sit down, say, for the first one, the fixed ideas, and you just start with a prompt. I have a fixed idea about, and then I have a fixed idea about needing a certain amount of space. I have a fixed idea about having everyone out of the house before I can create. I have a fixed idea about knowing how to do this before I can do that. Okay? So, write those down and then ask yourself, like for a fixed idea, is this true? Or is it something that I just think I need to have? Okay? And especially the one, I have no talent. Where did that come from? Is it real at all? Do you have no talent? I mean, my dad always used to say, I have no talent, I can't even draw flies. That sounded like something he'd heard since the day he was like 1 or 2, like a parent said to him. But anybody can learn how to do anything. And if you're not learning from the sources you have, maybe you need a different teacher. Or maybe you just need to practice more. It's really interesting to me how many people think they need to be good right away or within a month or 2, when other actors, dancers, musicians, athletes spend years getting good. The people we admire so much online, those teaching classes and make it look so easy. They just sit down and paint a portrait, just so easy. Well, they've been doing it for years. They have neural, if you want to go to the science part of it, they have these neural connections in their brain that just kind of automatically do that. Like you automatically drive somewhere and then you go, how did I get here? You're on automatic. So practice, practice, practice. Okay. Before I get to the next 2 things I want to share about creating solutions over these hidden gaps, I just wanted to mention that I have my upcoming Closing the Creativity Gap course that is coming up. It starts May 8th. But I wanted to talk to you today because I also want to alert you to the fact that there's an early bird discount, but it expires at noon on Saturday, noon Eastern time. And I just wanted to mention the class. It's a program that I have spent, it's been years in the making, as they say. But it's all the things that I've discovered since probably in my 30s when I started trying to kind of dissecting the creativity process. And this course is actually built on the 5 steps in the creative process. Only it's making it personal and practical. It's where these gaps come from for us. A lot of study about creativity is for people who are at a certain level in their own art making and creativity, and it's assumed that they already know what they're doing and they have a practice, but then they run up against a creative block and can't move forward, or they have an overwhelming fear, or they've had a lot of rejection. But for a lot of us, we haven't even gotten to that part yet. We can't even get started to get a regular creative practice. And I've realized that there's these 21 major things that get in our way. It's not always about us and having fear. Fear's going to be there. But there are also a lot of situations and things you don't realize that can be handled, and they're keeping you from your creative practice, not just the fear. Okay, so I cover all of that and answer questions like, why is it so hard to create? Is it really possible to fit art into my life? I've created this other life with family and people and community and jobs. How can I fit any one more thing in? My own art? Well, yeah, you can. The answer is yes. And closing the creativity closing the creativity gap will help you do that. Question: do you have a harder time getting started or staying with it when you're making art? Where does your problem come in? Oh, I see Marianne put the link for the Closing the Creativity Gap page, which explains the course, and you can sign up right then and there before the discount goes away. Let's see. Getting started, Irene. Okay. Anybody else? Getting started or sticking with it? I think I personally have had both, And then there's the famous UFOs, unfinished, unfinished projects. And I've got a really interesting thought for you about all those unfinished projects. Maybe you already learned what you needed to learn from it. I've talked to people who've had something, they say, I started that like 6 years ago, and I just, I want to finish that, but I just don't, I want to, but I don't want to. then maybe it's already taught you what you need to know. Maybe your tastes have changed. So don't feel guilt over things you started years ago that you didn't finish. It's all part of the learning process, okay? Kathy Ward, all the ideas in my head, but trouble getting them out. Right. Some ADD, Lois. I asked somebody the other day, do you have ADD or art ADD? Because I think that shiny object syndrome is a lot, you know, we just like get all excited about all the possibilities in art. And it's true. There's just so many possibilities, so many unique ways, styles, colors, you know, you name it. We have so many options, so you almost have to put blinders on. But then again, why not explore them all? It's the making of the art that is, I mean, that's what we want to be doing, making art. So don't get hung up on, you know, what I have to have a body of work, or I have to work in a consistent style. All of these things are important depending on what your end goal is, for sure. But if just making is what you want to be doing and you're not doing it, then who says you have to limit it to certain things? Okay, so anyway, I think, okay, just let me, one more note. Closing the creativity gap meets you right where you are, the program. It's not a one-size-fits-all. You will be designing your own solutions once you know what you're looking for and what particular gaps you're falling into. And then I give you the tools and the guidance and the support to get that done. And there's 6 modules in the course, but it runs over 7 weeks to give you a little bit of breathing room, but time to test out your solutions to see if they're going to be working for you. And you'll be doing that all along. But anyway, okay, I think I mentioned that. So you learn how to identify the gaps and where you're falling into them. And I think that's probably the biggest benefit just right out of the gates, you know. It's like, wow, I didn't realize I was doing that. Maybe one of the hidden gaps from today is something you just never realized. So you've already made a change for the better, more art. That's what we're here for. So after closing the creativity gap, you will come away with the power to be the artist you want to be and have the kind of creative life and practice that you want. And you have forever access to the course. And you also get my Compose Yourself composition class. That comes with it. You get that halfway through in the breathing week, okay? Because knowing how to is one of the gaps you can fall into. So I wanted to be able to share with you what good composition is, how to recognize it, how to come about it. So I'll take care of that gap for you right off the bat. Okay, back to the 2 other things you can do to close these no longer hidden creativity gaps. All right, do you self-compete? I mentioned already it's okay to compete and evaluate your performance after you finish working. But to be doing it while you're working, no, forget that, okay? There's no perfect to arrive at anyway. There's no artist in the world that goes like, I have arrived, this is it, I will never change a thing, I know how to do it, and I do it perfectly. It doesn't happen, right? Every artist, no matter where they are along the path, is always going to be learning, growing, trying new things. You get to a point where you're very comfortable with what you're doing, and you can do it well, and you can do it quickly, but then you get a little bored perhaps. I can name 2 artists that got to that place. I'm one of them. So you want to stretch yourself. You want to try something new, and that's really uncomfortable because you mess up. You don't do so well, right? But that's what living is. Getting in an uncomfortable spot, getting out of your comfort zone, and then making your way through it. And like, I did that. That's the best feeling. Remember when you were 5 and you came running home from school? Look what I did. Look what I did. Okay, so let's recreate that feeling again. Don't compete with yourself. Make for the joy of making. It's a joyous thing to be able to create and to learn and grow from it. Because whether you realize it or not, you are the art you are trying to create. Art is our soul made visible. It's our self-expression. It's putting what's in here out into the world. And that's like, is there anything in, I don't know. I'll get carried away on that one. Okay. Hurrying. What to do about hurrying? Well, reevaluate what you're doing. Any time spent on your art, any 5 minutes, any 10 minutes, 5 minutes every day, 2 hours a week, it's all good. Okay? It's all good. It's what you can do. If you're doing the best you can, that's all you need to be doing. It's when you're not doing it. It's when you have 5 minutes and you're, should I say, on Facebook or something like that. It's how you use your time. So that you, when you have 5 minutes, you don't have to hurry through it. You can just add it to the 5 minutes you had this morning, the 5 minutes you'll have after dinner. It's accumulation. It's the doing. It's saying like, hey, I got 5 minutes in today. I'll get 5 minutes in tomorrow. You're building up the whole practice. That's how you build a practice. Building blocks, right? What's scary, Denise? I'm missing I love messages. Saw the word scary. Okay. You can't hurry towards your future, towards a finished product. All we can do is make sure that we use the time that's available to us. And I know, I did it too. I know so many people do it. They just like, well, I only have 15 minutes, so why bother? Really? The things you can do in 15 minutes? Now, I realized when I was going through all this that sometimes you do need a big chunk, like 2 to 4 hours, to pull things together, get it straight in your head, just some quiet time to sit down and think, and then hit the ground running. But every 5 minutes, even gathering inspiration for 5 minutes, taking a walk, journaling, doing something that puts you in that state that makes art possible. No hurrying, okay? No need to hurry. And if you can't get done what it is you want to get done, if you started a quilt, let's say a bed-size quilt, and you're hand piecing it or something, that's going to take a long time. And what if you're the kind of person that needs immediate gratification, like someone I know? So you do smaller projects. You do more projects, smaller projects, so you can get that gratification. Sometimes it can be immediate gratification, but you get the reward of having a completed item. And then you go on and make another, building up. So I always realized that doing these little things kept me in flow, so that I was ready at a moment's notice to create. I pretty much learned how to stay in flow because it's the starting, it's the getting to that point where you can just sit down and create that's so hard. I've experienced that when I finish something. How many of you have finished something and then it's like, ugh, you just can't get started again? Okay, so the key is to stay in flow. Find something that you can do in a small chunk of time if that's all you've got. All right, so thank you for being here, for commenting, for sharing things, answering my questions. I do hope that you will take a look at the class page at leslieriley.com/CC Closing Creativity, CCGP. I'm always afraid I'm going to say that wrong. CCGP/CCGP. And find out more about the program, and you can always email me as well to get any questions answered. So now I've got some time. Let's see, 4:37, perfect. Some time to answer your questions. So either Marianne can, hi Olivia Thomas, long time no see. Marianne can give me some of the questions that were pretty common to everybody, or if first person to type in a question, then I can get that answered now while we still have some time. Otherwise, we will just, see you on the other side, so to speak, on the recording page. By Denise. Oh, Kathy, hi. I get caught up in creating little projects, cards, because of the instant gratification and have a harder time going bigger. Okay, here's what you can do. Make a card, start a bigger project. Make another card, add to the bigger project. I think it was, I was just reading about an artist, and I do the same thing too. Have several projects going at once. Don't make a big deal about one big project. Okay, so if you start it and add to it and continually add to it, that keeps you in the flow of that project. But do the little ones just so you have something that you can, say, I did this. Look what I made. Okay. I hope that answers your question, Kathy, about going bigger. I know I also have a problem myself working small and then working large, because it's not exactly the same process either. But again, that's stretching myself, getting out of my comfort zone, and then finding my way back in by trying, by doing. I hadn't painted in years, and I got a big, I think it's 24 by 24 canvas, and just started, and it actually turned out really good. I'm in love with it. But I was scared to death, okay? Okay, Valerie, what about when there are 100 ideas fighting for me and I seem to love them all equally? Well, what about it? Are they all huge ideas, or are they small? Can you start one, get it going, and then start another so that you always have a rhythm going? And if you're in the mood to do this, you do that in that spare time, extra time, or planned time. Hopefully you'll be planning your creative time. And then just move back and forth in between them. You don't cook the same meal every night, right? You've learned how to cook several meals at a time, so why can't you be working on several projects at a time? It's like the orchestration of Thanksgiving or Easter, which is what we're having here Sunday, just being able to handle all those cycles at the same time. They're all different. Some require the oven, some the stovetop, some the microwave. So you've done this before, and you can do it again with your art. Tamarie, hello. Tamarie's already signed up for Closing the Creativity Gap. Thank you. She knows a good thing when she sees it. Oh, I just lost your message, Tamarie. Sandra, I want to experiment, but what holds me back is spoiling the piece I made. Well, can you make another piece? And who says it's spoiled? That was another thing I learned. If you have this picture in your head of what you want it to look like, and it doesn't turn out that way, does that mean it's bad? No, it just didn't turn out the way you had envisioned. A, it could be better, but you don't see it because it doesn't look like what you'd envisioned. Or B, it could not be quite as good, but that doesn't mean you can't do it again with what you've learned and make changes again. We just seem to be so caught up in this piece is the only one I'll ever get to make thing. Hi, Susie Campbell. How are you? How do you push past the ugly stage without thinking it's a lost cause? You keep going. It's easier to do when you're painting with acrylics or oils, but I've noticed that you can do it in fabric too. You can just go right up top. Watercolor's a little hard. I'll give you that. But you just keep going. Years ago, I realized that, all these layers that we love, that so many artists were doing layers and layers and hidden layers and exposed layers and scraped away layers. That's because they were trying to get past the ugly part to the good part. So you just keep going, okay? All right, Judy, hello, just got back in. Hope there will be a recording available. Yes, there will, Judy. It'll be on the same page. I don't know how immediately, but I think it's pretty quick. So hopefully, oh, good, Marianne, you took care of that one too. All right, so 3 minutes, or we can just say goodbye now, but I promised I would only keep you about 45 minutes, and we have done it. And I have done it. I've done my first Facebook Live. I knew once I got started, it would be okay, and then I couldn't get started. But fortunately, my good old phone helped. Okay, Lois, I'm interested in too many things, primarily digital art, and sold some big things, but I'm struggling to keep focused in the primary work, but I get off into beads and sewing and spinning. See more, I'm afraid if I tap that I'll lose it. But Lois, I'll give you a better answer later, because there's a lot of things that you can try, a lot of solutions, a lot of ways to change your thinking. You might have some fixed ideas about what you're doing, okay? So think about that. I have a fixed idea about in relation to that question you just asked me. Too much stuff, Carol. Too much stuff that you don't want to get rid of because you paid money for it. Too much stuff is something that's gonna like stifle you a bit. You know that book, Magic of Tidying Up, get rid of things that no longer make your heart go pitter-patter. And maybe you want to just like pare down what you have, keep only what excites you, and then work with that. Irene's question, I don't know what Irene's question was, Nancy. Maybe you can ask it again. Timmery, congratulations. Always need to keep staying up to date. Yes, Lois says, thank you. Susan Williamson, hi. Hi, good to see you here. We're almost done, but you can check out the recording afterwards. And if you have a question, just post it, and I will either answer it right now, or I can answer it in the Facebook chat box. Hi, Irene. I buy too much stuff and then get overwhelmed to start. Aha. I don't know if you've ever had children, but one thing I learned early on is you don't give them everything at once. You know, on Christmas, every toy becomes equally uninteresting and boring like 5 minutes after they open the package. So maybe if you just set aside stuff, limit yourself. Limits are really good for becoming a better artist. Limiting what you use and what you have. Set up a parameter. I will only work with X, Y, and Z. And I will only try 3 pieces. You know, just give yourself some rules to follow. And too many options means not enough. Well, you can't get started if you got too many options. So I say narrow your options. Okay, Irene? Hi, Susan again. Okay, that was it. I don't know what you mean, Nancy, or Irene says yes, but whatever it is, I'm glad you both sound like you got what you needed out of it. So, all right, 4:46. I'm going to say goodbye and thank you so much. And again, please check out leslieriley.com/CCGP, because I think it's I don't know. I just think it's going to be really helpful for you if you've gotten something out of this by finding out what the 3 hidden things are. Imagine what can happen for you if you find out the 21 major things and all the hidden things buried inside of them, all those cracks. Okay? All right. Well, thank you all so much. It's been really fun. I felt like I was in the classroom again, on the stage or something. But anyway, all right, great. Bye-bye.